Let's give it a whirl, shall we? What's up, homies of the internet? Lugnuts.Guapo coming at you from Maverick Harley-Davidson, and today, you guessed it, Nightster, the Revolution Max 975, and we're gonna give it a go and see what we think of it. Our first impressions on this new Harley Sportster that Harley-Davidson has released. So yeah, let's go give it a whirl, and we'll roll that clip. Day. What a beautiful day to ride here in Texas. Alright, so from the get-go, this setup, it feels light. First of all, that's the first thing you notice on this bike. It is super light. It doesn't really weigh as much as, it doesn't feel as heavy as other Sportsters, because usually Sportsters, the traditional Sportsters, will feel top heavy. That's because they are top heavy. The controllers are very much kind of like the Pan Am and the Sportster S. Obviously, there are a lot less switches. I've never been a fan of the start button up here, but that's no here nor there. That's personal preference, I suppose. Alright, let's get this puppy started. Alright, kickstands up, let's go for a ride. Gotta be honest with you, it's got into sport mode. I was riding in a rain mode earlier, and it's touchy in sport mode. Obviously, this is not the 1250 that you get in the Sportster S. But let's give it a whirl, shall we? Wow. So it seems like right before or right at 7,000 RPM, it kind of drops off. If you know anything about the Pan Am, I think it goes all the way to 9,000, and it's a pretty straight curve all the way to it. And I don't know, it just feels, it doesn't quite feel like the Sportster S either. Obviously, a lot less displacement as the Sportster S from 1250 to 975. I'm sure they have the reasons. This would kind of be, I would put this up there with the Indian Scout. They're price-wise, they're pretty similar. And of course, obviously not the base model, but I like an Indian Scout Bobber or something like that. That 13.5 to 13.8 if you wanted any other color but black. The shifting is flawless. It's just what you would expect if you ran the Sportster S or the Pan America. Not sure how I feel about this motorcycle, to be quite honest with you. Comes with a Showa suspension. Woo! It's still quick though. Obviously this isn't the Ducati or Kawasaki H2, so keep your comments to yourself when it comes to that. This is a nice little cruiser, it really is. It's comfortable, definitely way more comfortable than the Sportster S. Sportster S, you're all stretched out, kind of like you would be on a V-Rod. And honestly, speaking of V-Rods, this is kind of like a V-Rod in the sense that the gas tank is underneath the seat. Then this is an air box, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm not really sure how I feel about that either. This is obviously very different for Harley-Davidson, as in like what is considered traditional, and I understand why they're doing it. You want all the people that would never really get on a Harley-Davidson or even consider a Harley-Davidson to come over to the brand. And this is a really good crossover. Actually, I was riding an Indian Scout yesterday, and to be quite honest, it's a nice little bike, but I don't like the suspension travel on it. Man, it's a Revolution Max motor, man. It's like, it's so incredibly smooth, and I think that, and I'm gonna say this, I think because it is so smooth, it almost has no personality whatsoever when it comes to the motor. I think even with the Sportster it was kind of similar. And the Pan Am, I think the Pan Am has a little bit of personality, but I think that's why people like the air-cooled V-twins, is because of the personality. Other than that, I mean, I get it. You know, you have to buy a motorcycle for what you want it for. What is it about a motorcycle that moves you? And this one, it's just a quick little cruiser that actually handles really well. There's not a lot of crazy twisties around here, but I mean, you can just, this is so effortless. I mean, unbelievably effortless, and it's comfortable. I would say comfort-wise compared to Sportster S, as I mentioned, very much this is way more comfortable because you're not stretched out. It's really more relaxed positioning. It is somewhat a little bit aggressive on the bar position. I still have to lean forward just a little bit, kind of like a lowrider S, not an ST, like a lowrider S, where you're like, your bottom half is like relaxed, and then your top half is a little bit, you know, pushed over forward, just a little bit more aggressive. One of the things that does bother me about this motorcycle is that they reuse those turn signals from like a street 750, street 500, which is really funny because I didn't even notice that until a technician pointed it out. The airbox, where it ends on the frame, that gives it that feel of like a Honda Rebel 500. I know it's not the exact same design, but that's literally, I can't unsee that. It makes me think about that. Again, this is not your traditional Harley-Davidson. Harley has a history of doing non-traditional Harley-Davidsons, and this is a pretty good one. But it's so light and smooth. It literally does not feel like a Harley at all. I think they went more, even the Livewire. And I don't know if this is going to make sense to anyone, but having ridden a whole bunch of Harleys, the Livewire even felt more like a Harley than this does, because that Livewire has a personality. They made it make you feel something different than just a regular motorcycle. Though with that said, oh man, I wish I could do a pull here, but there's a popo hanging out over there. Regardless how you feel about this motorcycle, for Harley-Davidson, this is a huge step in the direction of bringing new customers that wouldn't normally come to Harley-Davidson. This is a very comfortable motorcycle. The controllers, I don't know how I feel how the buttons are set up. They definitely did more of a like a Pan Am style. I mean, it seems like they're really sticking with this, and I get it. It's more of a metric feel, and turn signals are very much like you would have on a metric as opposed to a Harley, which is not my preference. Granted, I own a Honda as well, and that's how it is, but I just like the one-touch feel of everything on a Harley. This does not feel like that. Obviously, you have, when it comes to braking, you have a 2-piston front brake and a single-piston rear brake, Brembos, of course. The levers are very much like the exact same ones as a Pan Am. Literally the exact same ones, which, I don't know, it just looks weird. One of the things that I do not like about this motorcycle is how the wiring is on it. It just, I don't know, it feels like an afterthought. But if you look at the Pan Am and all the other ones, I mean, liquid cooled, this motorcycle is just not your traditional Harley, and that's all there is to it. Even like at the neck, if you took those little plastic sections, which I think would look better without them, there's a whole bunch of wiring underneath there, so you would have to do some rerouting of the wires yourself if you wanted to get rid of, if you just wanted to be able to see through the frame, which is kind of what Harleys are known for in a way. Not so much anymore, but anyways, it's a good bike. It depends on what you want it for. It's quick, it's comfortable. It's not your traditional Harley, which there's nothing wrong with that either. Hey, what's up, man? And man, I gotta be honest with you, I have mixed feelings about this one. I think it looks better in pictures than it does in person. That's obviously subjective. That's just my view on it. But the motorcycle, more objectively, I mean, the Rev Max is an incredible platform, and it's just not your traditional Harley. This one is this bike is so light. It feels super nimble. It's not top heavy. It's more like, the weight is a little bit more down low, but you quite don't feel that because of how light this motorcycle is. But man, what a ride. Sport mode is a lot of fun. I will say, from range mode to sport mode, there is quite a bit of difference, significant difference, especially like on the throttle. But it's cool that they have, you know, ride modes. Again, they're definitely targeting the customer that would go for an Indian Scout, that wants something lighter, a cruiser that's, you know, affordable. It is, again, 13.5, I believe, 13.8. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But overall, it definitely has that Sportster look, that doesn't have the Sportster feel. I mean, that's kind of obvious at this point, but they definitely try to nail the look more. That little fairing is pretty cool. You can clearly see that the person that did the Lowrider ST fairing definitely designed that cowling. Man, that's all I got for you. I'm sure I missed a thing or two, but overall, it's a really good motorcycle. It's not something that gets me particularly excited. It's not my type of motorcycle, but it is a really good motorcycle all around. It handles great, it's comfortable, and again, the price point is, I think it's where it should be for something like this. If you like this kind of content, if you like motorcycles in general, well, give me a like and a subscribe on that you know, the little red button down there, and yeah, follow this content. Again, sorry, not as consistent with videos right now. New gig. You know, if you follow me on social media, you know that these kinds of things have happened lately. So just got a lot of things to do, but I was excited to see this come in. I'm excited I got to ride it, and well, that's all I got. So until I see you next time, get on your Harley or on two wheels and get some wind therapy. Later.